From the Game of Thrones breakout star to both the folks playing Joker, here are some actors that were traumatized by their movie roles, starting with an Oscar winner who wasn't even happy with her win, Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables. The lengths Miss Hathaway went to for her role never fails to amaze me, yet horrify me at the same time.
I dreamed that God would be forgiving.
Anne lost a total of 25 pounds in just 2 weeks. To make matters worse, she had zero concept of nutrition or healthy weight loss at the time. That had to ruin her physical health, which it did. It made her sick, and according to the American Star, it took a really long time to bounce back from that. The toll further extended to her mental health. After all, she was playing a desperate French woman, forced to turn to prostitution, selling her teeth, hair, and body. Anything just to support her daughter. It all took more from the Ocean's 8 actor than what she bargained for. Even when she won her first ever Oscar, the actress couldn't bring herself to feel happy. Now that really puts into perspective how tough playing Fantine was for Anne. Characters suffering from extreme breakdowns tend to leave a mark, just like what this next actor's role did to her. Seemingly, it was in a movie about a spring Swedish fest, but the spring quickly became a dark nightmare. Of course, it's Midsommar, traumatizing Florence Pugh.
Because to me, that's where the best food and cooking comes from. So for example, today I don't really know what temperature to put.
Normally, Miss Flo has such a fun vibe going on, right? She's the cheerful actress that everyone loves. But the way Midsommar slashed her spirits was so not nice. The movie gave us, the audience, so many nightmares. Imagine what it did to the lead. In fact, why imagine? Hear it directly from her. Pugh said even before signing the role of Danny that she was apprehensive. She hadn't seen the level of trauma this close. When she watched the film, all those floral images became atrocious for her, especially because it was no jump scare horror. This horror actually emotionally scarred you. Luckily for the Marvel star, she started shooting Little Women immediately after it. It gave her the therapy she needed. She could play around, being silly and cheeky, shedding all that darkness from the Ari Aster flick. And speaking of the horror supremo, Pugh wasn't his first victim. A year later, he did it to our following star, and it was in his scariest A24 film, leaving even Midsommar behind. Alex Wolff
murder was commanded by the gods.
Will forever remember Hereditary, and not for the right reasons. He said the movie messed him up, as much as a movie can. In other words, to every psychological limit possible. It was super creepy to see, and even more horrifying to shoot. Wolf suffered from loss of sleep multiple days straight. He claims getting PTSD from being Peter was inevitable, and nobody disagrees with him there. But his coping mechanism was not so fun. It'll literally blow your mind. According to Alex, he resorted to what he calls emotional masochism. Yup, he dove right into the darkness. The actor describes it as if you're getting burned by a heater and then suddenly move away when you get too hot. Well, he didn't move. Quite the opposite. Wolf forced himself to relive it all and channeled negative energy. Yeah, that doesn't sound healthy at all, but the star is a fan of horror. Smashing his nose into a desk didn't faze him, so maybe he knew something darker would do the trick. Again, I don't recommend doing that. You should probably stay safe and stick to talking about it, getting it off your chest, just like this next star did. He refused to drown in a dark role, and Black Panther became too tough for Michael B. Jordan. Now, not gonna lie, didn't see this one coming. This Marvel movie was such a classic, and Michael literally killed it as Killmonger, but it came at a heavy price. You see, the Creed star isolated himself to play the role. He downright refused to accept love. Why? Because he wanted to feel Eric's anger. The only problem was, it managed to spook Jordan beyond his imagination. He never had an escape plan. So when the movie ended, he didn't know how to accept love again from his friends, Lady Love, and even his mother. As you can expect, it resulted in dark consequences for his mental health. According to the star, getting therapy was his only option to recover from that. Still, I'd I'd say at least Michael was at a mature age. He was around 30 when he tried this extreme method of acting, but this young star was only 15 when he started shooting the bloodiest games in TV history, the Game of Thrones. Being Sansa was horrifying for Sophie Turner. I think everyone saw this coming. The HBO show has a way of creeping on your nerves. You wouldn't dare let your young kid watch it. Well, Sophie was the young kid shooting it. I can't even believe the awful things she witnessed. Sansa was physically assaulted more times than I can count. Yikes. And that Ramsay wedding night scene? It scarred everyone, including Turner and the star playing the sadist Bolton. Sophie says growing up on such a controversial show was heavy, so she came up with a coping mechanism. The Queen of the North tried to have fun between takes, be it cracking jokes or just messing around. That was the only way she stayed sane in the madness. Fortunately, Turner had such a supporting cast. She found her bestie in Maisie Williams. Still, the X-Men star needed to go to therapy as well. Despite all that, Sophie believes her most iconic role will pop up again. She told her Dark Phoenix co-star, "I'll exhibit symptoms of trauma down the road." She can't just leave the role behind her. Just like this next Academy Award winner, he can't move on from the kookiest role in comic history, no matter how hard he tries. Yup, it's the newest Joker in town, Joaquin Phoenix. To become Arthur Fleck in the 2019 film, Joaquin lost a whopping 52 pounds, and this got him his desired look, spine and ribs protruding. The actor admits such weight loss actually made it difficult for him to move. Even that iconic stair dance scene made him heave. Mentally, it was an even bigger challenge. He says obsessing over losing 0.3 pounds every day, you really end up on the brink of a disorder. So, how did Phoenix avoid that? He focused on the positives. Turns out, losing weight gave him a weird sense of control over himself. His body moved in ways he had never thought of. Still, it didn't take away the ramifications of playing Joker. He says you start going mad. And, of course, he isn't the first actor that fell prey to the character. An iconic star did too, way before Phoenix. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Heath Ledger. He's the OG Joker. No offense to the others, but no one did it better than Ledger. That means he also took the full force of darkness. For Batman: The Dark Knight, he locked himself in a room to get into that crazy state of mind. The Aussie was found saying his sleep was reduced to just 2 hours a night. His body was exhausted, but his mind never stopped. Guess you could say Heath never recovered from the role. It contributed to his mental struggles, and he ended up losing the battle of his life. He never got to see that he won an Oscar for it. That makes it all the more heart-wrenching. May he rest in peace now. And that's a wrap on actors who were left scarred by their most iconic roles. Now you know, sometimes performing arts can require quite a heavy price. See you next time.